Hello everybody, Jen again here with another process layout. I have, this is the first layout using my August Gossamer Blue kit, which was my last Gossamer Blue kit. I canceled after this month. I had canceled after August. I wasn't a huge fan. I felt like it wasn't a good match for what my style is. Sorry about moving the camera there. I accidentally bumped it. So I am using a photo of from 2007. It was my spring weekend in college, and it's something I had scrapped before, but I didn't put a story on it. I just scrapped the picture. This was before I did a lot of journaling. So I am going to scrap it again. I'm not going to I'm not going to get rid of the first layout I scrapped. Rather, I'm going to use it as a complement to that first layout. And I do that every once in a while. I'll re-scrap a photo. I will never pull a photo off of a layout I've done, but I'll re-scrap it and put it in the same book next to each other. And it's just fun to see how my style has totally evolved and totally changed. And also, sometimes I remember details or I write things down that I didn't have in the first page. So I like doing that. This was one of those that I did do. So I'm using the gray photo or gray cardstock as my main paper, and I had trimmed off about an inch, maybe half an inch from each side of that gray cardstock and mounted it on that yellow polka dot. I thought it was kind of a fun mat for that gray cardstock, and I actually cut out the middle of that yellow cardstock because I liked the other side of it and I wanted to use it for something else. So this is a Webster's Pages piece of paper here that I made into a banner. It's from the Strawberry Fields collection. The other side with the field of grain and the sun and all of that, it was a beautiful piece of paper. I will never use it in my life scrapbooking. Good thing I loved the other side as that wood grain, like herringbone, fishbone. I don't really know what to call that pattern. But this ends up being a really simple and easy, quick layout. I just made that pennant there, and now I cut apart that it was a piece of cut aparts, again from Webster's Pages, that had multiple, it wasn't really 3x4, it was all different size little cards, and I used I think I used a couple of them on this outline. And then I also am using this piece of vellum. There was a cut apart vellum sheet, and this was like kind of almost like a bokeh pattern, and I just used about an inch strip of it to make it look like I made another layout, or not a layout, another layer under my photo, but I really just used a quarter of an inch or a half an inch strip on each top and bottom to make it look like it was going under, because I love the vellum. Sorry, throughout this entire video, I was texting my cousin, and my cousin just had a baby, so we've been kind of texting back and forth. I've been to her house almost every other day or so since the baby was born, but we text almost throughout the whole day because she's at home tired and bored with the baby. Not that she's bored, but she can't really go anywhere, so I'm her entertainment, I guess. So I'm pulling out these embellishments, and those I think were from a Teresa Collins, like the button and banner sets. It's so funny. The kids seem to love them. I get it that there's a good amount of embellishments on that, but I don't like those things. I tend to use them. I use them up because they come in a kit, but I don't use them. I don't love them. I would rather something else instead of that in the kit. Sorry, again, long texting. That should be the last time I text throughout this layout, though, I think. So I pulled out a whole lot of those embellishments, and I also cut up a couple of pieces of scraps here to make my own little banners. So you'll see me just trim a couple more of these cards down to try to place, and then I'm going to cut these strips of paper into different size banners and glue them in the top left-hand side of the paper. And I don't know, I think I put 3, and then I think I place a couple of those Teresa Collins banners on top of it. is what I think happens. That's that strawberry field, and I did get a piece of that on. It was very pretty, but like I said, I would never use it in my regular scrapbooking. So I tried to pull different pieces of paper, but in coordinating colors, but I did use that, that wood grain and white herringbone. I guess it kind of looks like a herringbone scrap that I love so much. So to bring a little bit of continuity to that upper corner. I don't know what I'm doing here. I think I'm looking for something. Oh, no, I'm texting again. Surprise, surprise. And then I do make this little skinny one too, but I don't know if that makes it onto the page. Oh, I guess it does. I guess I tuck it under. I kind of forgot that I did that other one, that teeny tiny skinny one. So I'm just going to glue these down here and arrange them in a way that I like, and I think it ends up being different from the way I've originally arranged it. And I'm going to glue them down, and I think I'm going to grab those Teresa Collins ones, yeah, and put at least one of those down on top of the others, and I tend to overlap them over the ones I've already done, make it a big cluster of banners up there. So now I'm putting my TV show back on. Gotta love it. I'm all over the place with this layout. Picking my fingers because I'm watching TV, and I should have really edited that out, but they were such short moments that I'm like, oh, forget it. It's too much effort to edit out like 3-second clips of things, and then it looks more I think it looks a little bit more choppy when you do that. So I'm pulling out letters for my title. It's my spring weekend in college. It was called May weekend, even though the majority of the time it was in April. I'm not quite sure if it ever actually fell in May. In the 4 years I was there, it was usually the last weekend of April. And it was the typical, what you would think of a college spring weekend. I was not a drinker in college. I did not party a lot. So my friends and I really took advantage of all of the fun things that they did. I always had, like, I think one year we made Frisbees. There were all the photo booths and the props and all these arts and crafts activities and food trucks, and they had bouncy houses and inflatables and all kinds of stuff. So out on the quad, and that's what really we liked for May weekend. Most of my friends were not drinkers either. We drank a little bit, but we weren't super. We remember all 4 of our May weekends. So I put the date down there. I know that was my senior year, given just the people that were in the photo with me. And I'm gluing down it says Summer Jams, and that's from the Webster's Pages, putting a couple of buttons on, and that Heidi Swap clear sticker. I've now gotten 3 sets of those, and I hate them. It's one of those things, I'm probably just going to rock them because I'm not a fan of how they come out. Like, you can't even read it. I did use one there that kind of has date on it or something of the sort, so I put it next to the date. And I'm using some of the Gossamer Blue exclusive wood veneer, and I think the circle says on this day. I have no idea what that little Webster's Pages sticker says. I don't have the layout next to me. I could read it to you, but I'd have to go find it. And I'm putting a couple of those cork asterisks on and using some of those. I don't know who makes them, but they're enamel buttons, or enamel dots, but they're glittered. They're not my mind's eye. I'm not quite sure who the company is, but I really liked them, the silver enamel dots. And that is pretty much my layout. I don't know if I add anything. Oh, I know I do add at least one more thing. I'm going through here, and I'm pulling out a couple of brads to put in the holes of those Teresa Collins banners up at the top that actually is hidden right now. I don't like tying string through them, so I just put a couple of brads through. And that will finish up my layout. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.